In this video, I will be showing my technique for cleaning out a hot end. This is my way of cleaning a hot end, and it works for me. I'm no 3D printing expert, and this way and technique I have developed listening to a lot of people. I don't get many nozzle clogs nowadays, and when I do, I clean the entire system just like a carburetor. PTFE tube, fans, shroud, heat brake, fittings, nozzle and the throat. So I'm going to start off by cleaning the PTFE tube. I'm just going to take a piece of magic eraser sponge that I'll dip in some acetone and I'll push it down the length of the PTFE tube with a piece of scrap filament. So now that I've cleaned the PTFE tube, I'm going to clean out the fan shroud and cooling fan and the hot end heatsink with a brush and the air gun on my compressor. So after cleaning down the cooling sink and the outside fan shrouds, I'm now going to start cleaning out the nozzle. I'm going to clamp down the nozzle with my soldering stand, and then what I'm going to do is I will heat it up with a heat gun and use a 0.4 millimeter drill bit to pick out the PLA on the inside of the nozzle. I find that using a small 0.4 millimeter drill bit, it sort of grabs the PLA in blobs and pulls it out of the nozzle along with any dirt, dust or grit also. So after getting as much as I possibly can out of the nozzles, out of the nozzle, and cleaning all the dust off the shrouds and fan, I'm now putting all the parts into a container of acetone so I can scrape them out further. I'll clean all the parts in acetone and then I will clean them down with an air gun and set them aside for reassembly. So one thing I like to do with my nozzles is I'll actually put a wire brush on the end of the Dremel and buff the threads clean, as well as the underside of the nozzle and the top side as well. So I'll buff this nozzle back to a clean finish. And I've actually made a bit of a mistake on this one. Normally what I like to do is I'll buff it before I clean the PLA out of the nozzle, so that way the the dried PLA in the end of the nozzle helps to keep the wire bristles and the wire brush out of the inside of the nozzle. So after cleaning out the nozzle, and now that I'm satisfied with how clean it is, it's going back into the acetone again, along with the rest of the parts. And then obviously I'm going to pull them out one at a time and clean them down exactly the same as I would with a carburetor, just by scrubbing them in the acetone bath and then air gunning them out with the compressed air. Another thing I also like to do is I keep all of my hot end parts in a sealed container in Ziploc bags, the same as you would with any carburetor parts like carby jets or needles. It's just good practice to keep all this stuff dead clean. So those are the steps I take when I'm cleaning and refurbishing the hot end and the PTFE tube on my 3D printer. Obviously when I go get around to reassembling this, I'll install it back on the printer and then torque down the throat and the nozzle against the heat brake while it's under heat. We'll heat it up. And yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe.